Welcome to the Banter with Dave and Hobbs, brought to you by Berserk Athletics for all your custom uniform needs. Hobbsy man, how was the holidays?
Exhausting, but really good.
Oh yeah.
Kids came, did Christmas here, did Christmas morning here, ripped some presents open, made a mess, got all the stuff they wanted. Then hightailed it over to Grandma and Grandpa's, came back with a whole bunch more stuff, and then headed back out to the other Grandma and Grandpa's, and that's where
Uh-huh.
they're at now. And then tomorrow we finish Christmas up finally with a trip to Old Barnard, Missouri
Oh wow.
for the last of the Christmases, and then
Oh yeah.
I am done with Christmas.
I will tell you what, man, it was a little bit of a weird Christmas.
Yeah.
Uh I don't know, the vibe was different this year. I don't know if it was what it was like for you, but I know it was kind of a different vibe for me. Um, you know, of course, thinking about show ideas
Hmm.
and with everything that goes on in the sports world,
Yeah.
like we both said time and time again, sometimes we forget about what goes in our world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and Christmas, man, I'll tell you what, wasn't going to go this route with it, but sometimes it's good to talk about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
you know, my anxiety was up there,
Yeah. I
and it
understand.
it has gotten the best of me. It
Hmm.
got a little best of me over the holidays. Nothing like last Christmas. The only reason why I said last Christmas, there was a reason why the anxiety was high, but
Yeah.
it was a good anxiety. This was just a weird anxiety, man. It
Yeah.
just, sometimes I think we forget that we take ourselves and worry about so many other things
Hmm.
that we don't take the time to just breathe and think about ourselves.
Doesn't seem like it, does it?
No, man, and that's been for some reason this year was hard on me.
Yeah.
I think Christmas Day, we had family come over to the house. Everybody opened up gifts early, sat around, and people ate a little bit. And man, I don't think I moved my spot in the couch other than to make myself a plate
Yeah.
and maybe use the restroom. And that was it. Like I was not trying to be antisocial,
Hmm.
but being, you know, trying to be as social as I can,
Right.
but not wanting to be around people. Like,
No, I understand that.
oh, then by I'd say, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock, it just hit me like a wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my went downward. I can't like I was drained, I was exhausted, I was, it was and it's so weird because you forget how mentally the mental side of things can drain you.
Yeah.
Used to be it was when, growing up and you'd be out running around or playing sports or, out moving around, enjoying taking walks on the holidays and stuff like that, and how that would physically drain you.
Hmm.
But I don't know if it's because I've gotten older, but man, this Christmas was weird. It wore me out. And sometimes I think we, especially as men, forget to take a step back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We, go ahead.
Oh, I told it's funny. You really you hit it out of the park with that. So I told Ashley, uh, and every there's a lot that goes into it. I feel like holiday season, not so much Thanksgiving, but when you get to about that second week of December,
Yeah,
when work, doesn't matter what field you're in, always seems to get a little squirrely
yeah.
because, and it seems like every field, like it's almost like, in a way, it's almost like a full moon for,
Oh,
like,
man, you couldn't
yeah,
say better. Yeah.
yeah. And then, so then, and then the kids are out of school and, like, they're hyped as shit, and,
Oh,
like, they get, I get it. They know they're halfway through,
yeah.
and they can get to be a little much, and then
They
the
are
money,
like
yeah,
caged animals
exactly. And then
that
money,
just got let
man,
out.
because you still got to live, and Christmas comes up, and You're paying your mortgage, you're paying your phone bill, for
And
instance, just like with me, my electric bill, like I'm on that, I do budget billing. You don't
yeah,
think about, oh yeah, at the end of the year, it's December, boom, here's your last settle up payment.
yeah,
And here's another, $300 you didn't,
you
personal
didn't.
property
Yeah,
tax. So
yeah,
the money aspect of it. Another thing, and you know this as well as I do, and I think anybody that listens to us has probably faced this or went through this. Around the holidays, man, there's always somebody or that is dear to somebody that passes away. Like this is a
yeah,
heavy, heavy time. When you're alone, I feel like no holidays more than Christmas like enhance that
yeah.
when your family's smaller, or if you in my case, my family's not exactly like super close, my
Uh huh.
immediate family. So like you feel that, and then
Yeah,
like that burden, because I think as men, especially when you want to do right by people, when you're the family man,
yeah.
the kids and everything, we all carry that on our shoulders because in a way we put that expectations on ourselves. And
Uh
in a
huh.
way, we like you're saying that we don't. I think we expect that everybody else expects us to be able to carry it, and then
Yeah,
it gets heavy. And like at the end of the year, I feel like all of it, like heavy lies the crown, is probably worse in December through January
oh, I
because
agree.
the New Year's coming, and you're like, it doesn't matter if you're a resolution person or I'm gonna do this better. If you survive it and you get through it, you always take a deep breath and you're like, you know, maybe this year will be different, or I've got to the approach of what the hell's gonna happen next, and you
Yeah,
take the good with the bad, but it's a lot because you just never know. And I think with just it's a perfect circle. Like the holidays are. I mean, I love what they're about and everything, but it's like a perfect
yeah.
circle of like if you've and like you said, you talk about mental health. Your anxiety. With me, it's the same thing. In the last few
Mm-hmm.
years, you know, I didn't realize. I used to be. When we were at the softball fields and stuff, and the ball fields and stuff, like when I drank a lot, I opened up
Yeah,
a lot more and was a lot more life of the party, would talk to anybody and
yeah.
stuff. But like sober and not doing that, I really didn't like people. And it's not that I didn't like them all, but I didn't, I did,
Yeah,
I didn't like a lot of them. And then after
yeah.
COVID, I really didn't like a lot of them. And then
Yes.
and
And,
then I got socially more awkward because
uh,
stuff that I used to, this sounds bad, but it is what it is. Like, stuff that you used to like have kind of maybe a little vested interest in,
yeah,
it stopped. Or
yeah.
things you felt, and they say people don't change, but obviously they do. Because there are things I used to like truly, you know, have an interest in or enjoy or at least give a shit about.
Yeah.
That as I got older and you look back at it now, it was just shit that you're like, why did I care? Why
Uh-huh.
I don't care. And and I think too, like you're saying, is when we stop and take a break, it's hard to let it all go
Uh-huh.
because like you're like I am as far as being like just a fighter in general.
Yeah.
You're always gonna grind. You're always gonna try to do what's right. And in time when you do that, you fight everything else you're trying to fight, and sometimes you end up fighting yourself in the process. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, especially around Christmas and the holidays, like you fought all year long, and you're
Yeah.
another year's coming, and it seems like if there's anything left on the plate, this is
Uh-huh.
when it's all there. Like it's like here's the last whatever's left, whatever ammo they got left. It seems like it's firing. So when it doesn't happen, it's a breath of fresh air, and you're like,
Yeah.
but when it does happen, you're already got your dukes up and you're ready for it. And it's a tough thing because that's not a healthy thing, but it's part of it.
Yeah.
And
And
you just
I
fight through
think
it as
like
best you can.
I think you said you I mean, you kind of said it's like guys like myself and yourself is we put a lot of burden on our shoulders. and we carry that. We
Absolutely.
want the ones around us to be happy before we think about having ourselves happy.
Yeah.
Uh, I know I'm especially when it comes to Christmas time because of course you want your kids to be happy,
Yeah.
you want your loved ones to be happy,
Right.
and you're not thinking about yourself being happy. With that, it's like you kind of we both have been along that same boat as our outlet was slow pitch softball at one time,
Yes, indeed.
or any kind of sport or any kind of sport activity at one time.
Hmm.
You know, then it led to kind of like you said, the drinking side of it. That became an outlet in a lot of ways. I know at
Absolutely.
that time it became that outlet for me too, because you don't have much going on in your life. You don't have much to do in your life. So you kind of, hey, let's go out and party.
Yeah. Yes,
You know,
indeed.
we've gotten pretty gnarly.
Oh, yes, indeed.
There are times I've wondered how we have made it back safely to the cave.
Oh, the cave.
And
God bless the
I
cave.
think now that, you know, you like myself, this show has become my outlet.
Hmm.
My coaching is my outlet, but like right now, what am I coaching?
Right.
Where baseball season is quiet right now, or should be.
Right.
But you know, I think mentally, men in general just try to always have to, when you think about it, we always have to be that protector of
Hmm.
everything, and I think that just wears on you. And
It does.
like you said, you're at the end of the year and you're thinking bills, and you're like, "Oh crap, are all the bills
Yep.
paid up?" Or the kids, they're out of school right now. You're trying to make sure they're staying, staying happy and doing what they
Right.
want to do,
Yeah.
and not driving you nuts.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I think it's something that we're not the only ones that are alone in this feeling.
Oh, no
Uh,
doubt.
I it's been hard. It's been a hard week for me. Because then what happens is what you hardly sleep.
Yep.
You then you're cranky. Then you try to say, hey. Then when you doze off or do take a nap, it's like it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then it keeps you up till 2 or 3 in the morning again. So
Right.
kids are up at you
You're
know
like,
7, 8 o'clock, and then you're tired again,
yeah.
and it wears on you. It wears on you mentally. It wears on you physically. And I think how that happens with me, then it raises my anxiety level,
Yeah.
and then I don't want to people, you
No.
know,
I know.
but then
I
at
know. All
times it's
zero.
like I need to get out of the house
Right.
and say what that's the it's weird because it's like and some people understand this is like when COVID hit, like you said, it didn't bother me. It realized that I really don't want to be around people,
Right.
which was fine, and I'm okay with that. But it bothered some people because they felt stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then sometimes with me, it's like I don't want to people. Then peopling, as I like to put it,
Yeah.
helps with my anxiety.
Yep.
But I only want to be around a certain few.
Yep.
I don't
I,
want to be all out, you know, doing sitting there, at a restaurant with people that we're only gonna be there, eat dinner, and then we're gone.
no.
I'd rather be around people say, "Hey, let's go grab a bite to eat," than "Hey, come over to the house or come
Right.
back to our house," and then it's more of a relaxing situation.
Yep.
And you know, but yeah, man, the holidays they were good. You know, I love seeing the kids smile, got everything they wanted for the most part. Of course, there's always, oh, I wish I'd have got this.
Oh
Well,
yeah. Oh yeah. You know,
you know,
I'm 40 years old and I've been wishing for that Ford Raptor for I keep wishing
I
and
tell you,
I
I
keep going
wish,
out in the parking lot and it ain't there. So
I tell you what, one thing I wish for Christmas, and it's finally slowly like this cough I've been having.
yeah, man.
Man, I tell you what, I've try to find out what it is. It's my ears are clogged.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a good month now, and it's like I'm taking steroids, and I feel like I'm finally coming down at the end
Good.
of it. But
Good.
now it's just a nuisance, and it's a pain in the ass, and I
Yeah,
can't stand
man.
it.
Well, see, and that's
But
my boy child. He's going through it right now. Like, they're still doing wrestling practice and stuff, but
yeah,
he's he'd gained some weight back. And he cut it pretty quick. He's into wrestling mode now, so the body's working with
change.
him, but at
Yeah,
the same time the body's working against him too in other ways. So the immune system's probably not top notch right now, and he's
uh-huh.
he's fighting a pretty gnarly cold too. So
Man,
keeping
yeah,
an eye on him. So it's going
I've heard
around, man,
people
and
that, they start to feel better than it hits them again.
yeah. Well,
It's
and you
all
think about it,
chest congestion, and
yeah.
oh man,
There's two things. So you think about. I'm going to go back to what we were talking about because there's one thing I think where you and me, and it goes back to the heavy lies the crown and us talking about anxiety and stuff that I really wanted to mention because you and me know this, and I think that it takes a certain kind of person to understand it. So, we talked about COVID and pre-COVID and after COVID and stuff, but one of the big factors there with you and me both were you and me have known what it's like to be alone and
yeah,
how to live alone and be able to do that. Uh, I, without naming names, there's a couple of buddies of mine that over
uh-huh,
the years where I know they've been able to do so and have been fine living alone and being alone and knowing how to just go about life alone
yeah.
and wanting companionship, but understanding that if it didn't come, they were going to be okay.
Oh
And then
yeah,
I've got
I
a,
agree.
I've got a couple buddies that they can't be alone, and so you see with us is we've went through it on that side, and when you come out, you realize too, yeah, back then it was we peopled a lot, and the drinking and going out and stuff, and I think at the time we all had that mutual thing like that,
Yeah,
and afterwards, and when we were at our loneliest during COVID, we came out just liking people less.
huh,
Like,
that's pretty much it.
it gave us the long break, and then when
Uh-huh.
when it came back to being able to go do those things again, it gave us probably the time we needed to say that it literally just this we just had lost all of that. It had no appeal, and then
Yeah,
now you know with that comes the fact of I don't know how your anxiety works, but one of mine is, and you nailed it on the head. Like I miss going out and seeing the boys and doing stuff,
uh-huh,
but I I don't want to go into the environment of having to go to the bar to hang out with him.
yeah,
I don't I
yeah,
don't want to do that no more. Like
yeah,
I mean I would love to go have a drink with them, and this sounds horrible because I hate the place with a passion, but I would rather go have a beer and bullshit with them at Applebee's
uh-huh.
of all places or
Man,
somewhere,
dollar
and then
margaritas.
yeah, exactly,
You
and
can't
then
go
come
wrong
back
with margaritas.
and then come back to like somewhere in my comfort zone
Yeah,
and bullshit and play left right center or just kind of have a more sounds terrible. I don't know why I want like a more intimate, closer bullshit session than the chaos of the bar and the racket and the drunk
oh
girl
yeah,
wandering down the thing and
yeah,
the bros. Yeah. So I think that goes into it too. I mean, I when you think about that, I think that kind of is my feeling that I get
uh-huh,
with it. So when it gets heavy, that's a lot of what goes through my head with
uh-huh.
that. So yeah, but yeah, that was what I was going off there. I just wanted to.
But that
I
it's
got
kind of
thinking about it. I'm
say
like, yeah, you know what?
when you say that though, and I've been like this too. Is like when you mentioned that we were used to kind of being alone. We kind of learn how to. It's like to me, it's like you learn how to be single,
Absolutely.
and
He-Man Woman Haters Club for years.
it, how I know it took a lot of self healing and looking at myself in the mirror to say, okay, you can do this. One way or the other, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that where both of us, how we came about, like you said, the He-Man Women's Hater Club type, where we eventually had to let those guards down
Yeah.
because yourself, you found the one, and she makes you happy
Yeah.
to say, where? How did you know when you got to that point? Because I know for a lot of guys it's hard,
Well,
and
it
some guys can't self healing sometimes is you have to look at yourself deep in the mirror
with
and
with
say,
me
these are my faults.
exactly. With me, not playing ball was the first
Uh-huh.
thing because one of the best things about playing ball is you could escape on the field, but then you also had I always called it like the henchman. Your buddy's
Yeah,
there, so
yeah,
if I had an angel on one shoulder and the devil on
yeah,
the other one, as soon
yep.
as as soon as I walked into the ballpark, I know my devils. They were all of them were. I had at any point there were 9 of them, maybe 12 of them, and then even after the ones we were on the field with, we wouldn't have to walk far to find 45 more of them. And at the time, they were all thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
So it didn't take much to get to the forbidden fruit there.
yeah,
So I think once COVID hit and once I got away from that, and to be honest, once I slowed down drinking a lot, like
yeah,
quite a bit. I still went and got after it pretty good, but when I stopped, like got really 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 like I mean dried out pretty good. I got to the point where I told myself forever that I hit a certain age. My first thing was, and this I literally told myself this. I had leveled with myself. At 35, if I didn't have kids of my own, that bulldogs or puppies were going to be the way it went.
uh-huh,
And that was just me. That was just because how I was living, and I knew me. And the older I got, I think middle 30s till now, I've really got. I knew me then, but there were parts of me I didn't want to necessarily just say that's just how I am, and that's me. But at the same time, I also knew that was me. So the more I accepted that, the more things were like, if I don't have a son or don't have a daughter, don't have a kiddo, that's fine. I'm gonna have the dog,
yeah,
and I'm gonna live this bachelor life. And then, of course, I just had pretty much been like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to work. I'm gonna pay my bills. I'm just gonna chill out, me and Rummy the bulldog, and we're just
uh-huh.
gonna do us. And then, oddly enough, just by happenstance, you run into somebody,
That
and it was so funny. Dustin Danner had talked about her because he had a little crush on her old Dut, and and it's funny because she shares the name of another buddy of mine. His wife is named Ashley,
got to.
and his wife's named Ashley Sullard. And
Uh-huh,
Ashley's when she was married was also Ashley Sullard. So
uh-huh.
Dustin says, "Hey, I like this girl named Ashley Sullard," and I'm like, "Dude, her husband will kill you, beat you dead." And he's like, "Not that one." And I'm like, "There's another one?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then I kind of went through it, and he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Who is this?" And then just kind of by happenstance, and I can even tell you when it was. So
Yeah,
right before the world shut down, it was on Snake Saturday.
uh-huh,
I had gotten roped into going down to Neon for the day.
uh-huh.
I didn't. I had had a rough morning, should we say? I dropped my phone in the pisser to start the
Oh,
day.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was not having a morning. The the crew of ladies I took down there were obnoxious loud, and I just was not in the mood for that. And then, lo and behold, here strolls my old probation officer
Oh, wow.
with Ashley, and
Oh,
that was yep, and that was the first time I actually had met Ashley. And then I kind of kept, afterwards, I kind of just kept in touch with her, said hi to her on, got, became friends with her on Facebook. It always makes me laugh, so I get tongue
I'm
tied
into
about it
those
all.
DMs.
Yep, exactly. So I actually did. I sent her a message. We were talking to about first time I'd ever really got super creepy. I felt like a creepo. But I sent her a message about Omaha Zoo because she took her kids up there, and I was, I've always been a big animal guy, so
Uh-huh.
was like, hey, yeah, I love me some Omaha Zoo too. Kind of chit chatted with her a little bit, and then just as fate would have it, we kind of ran into each other a couple more times, and then like after that, I kind of just asked her if she wanted to hang out. First time, and you know me, like I've asked a lot of girls, like if they want to drink beer with us at softball and stuff, but never with the intent to like actually get to
Yeah,
know them or court them in
yeah,
a
yeah.
gentleman's way. It was just kind of like, yeah, you wanna come drink beer with us or not? But yeah, so it was totally different. I was already a smitten boy then, and then I think the first time like we actually her and me drank a lot of beer one night. Her buddy Amy was with us, and her and me kind of had a button of the heads because I was like, are we gonna talk? Or because she was kind of talking to another fella, and I did
Yeah.
my probably my if it was ever gonna be in a movie move, just kind of put my foot down and said, hey, make it, is it me or what's up? And I dig you, and I
Well,
guess I
sometimes you got to
guess
do that.
yeah, I did. It was and it, with me, and you know me, it was totally me letting my guard down, which had never happened ever. And then a 4 a.m. phone call to Brian Hubbard
Uh-huh.
that night after I'd been drinking a little whiskey, and him telling me, you just got to decide, is the juice worth the squeeze or not, or are you gonna
Uh-huh.
just, do what you always do and just say fuck it and walk away? Well, I didn't, and here she is now, and made the biggest mistake of her life and kept me around. So,
Yeah.
but I knew then, man. I knew I was done. I told myself then I'm gonna go for it once.
Uh-huh.
She crossed every
Box.
dotted every I, you name it. Anything that I ever wanted was all wrapped up in that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do this one time. And if I fail at this miserably, I can at least say that I went down giving it one shot.
Yeah.
And you knew me, and you know me very well. Had it went the other way, I would probably
Uh-huh.
still be shit. What I'd be probably the 19th time, 20th time defending Bachelor of the Year award winner with the heavyweight title belt still. But uh, luckily it worked out, and I don't know what she was thinking, but good for her. I'm glad she did. Thanks. But yeah,
But
and now I know, man. That's a long story, but yeah, it's been awesome, man. And then you know how it went from there. Like I just vanished off the face of the earth. Didn't didn't do anything in any type of way traditional
yeah,
whatsoever. Just was like, I'm done. I'm fully committed to this. Let's do all this just in the craziest way we can, and don't let anything stop it. It's how we feel, and just let that juggernaut go. And it just and
I tell
3
you
years
what,
later, here we are.
I think it's it's like one of those you feel good about your boys when they do that. But it's crazy because it's all like, you were real good at this, and I'm pretty good at this too. You kind of shut yourself down from the world of social media.
Oh yeah,
And every once in a while you make a post here and there, or you're doing this or that, or you make a joke, but then no one knows. Like even your closest friends sometimes
yep,
don't know until boom,
yep,
and then it's like, whoa, hold on,
right,
and then
yep,
it's like, oh man, finally took the leap of faith,
right.
which is awesome. And I think sometimes that's great because I think personally, too many couples, especially nowadays, try to live their relationships, their marriages out through social media.
It will. It is a poison that I cannot. It is any. We all see it. It
Uh
is
huh.
a. It's just. It's not the place for that. It's
Yeah.
not. It's too many insights. Too many people. Too many Dr. Phils. You know. Too many Dr. Susies. Everybody wants to chime in on some bullshit, and it's not a place for that.
I'm a, and this is what's funny because I know we're both very private people.
Mm-hmm.
Yet here we are doing this, kind of open
Right.
ourselves up to people.
Right.
But I think, like with us, if we can get our message across to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. Like, it's always, oh, you need to be married by 30, have kids by and settle down by 35, or you're doing this by in your 20s. And
Right.
that it doesn't matter. The right person is going to come along when the right person comes along.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people don't take times out for themselves and
Mhm.
find themselves. It, like I said it, and you said it too. It took some time. You know, I went through a divorce and one marriage. And it's like you go from there, then you go across to some different relationships, and those, and you start to as you get older, you start looking at all that. Like,
Yeah.
is it me? Is it them? What do I need to change? What do I need to do? At times there was times myself I never thought I was going to be a father.
Right.
I'd kind of given up on fatherhood, and boom, my daughter came along, and it's been awesome.
Hmm.
And I said God has a plan for all of us. If you don't believe in God, you're whoever you turn to
Right.
has a plan for you in life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I think when you take out, and I know people use, like I said, we both use softball
Yeah.
as a getaway.
Exactly.
But a lot of times you seem to forget sometimes that turns you to that negative side of life and puts you back into the ways that maybe you shouldn't be going.
It is. It is Pandora's box.
It is
It
very much
is,
so.
and there's, and it's, like you're saying, it's not. It was softball for us. It can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and
Yeah.
you know I it, I always call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, man, it was good, man, it was bad, and sometimes it was really ugly. But
Oh man.
it opened every kind of, it opened the most successful door for me I've ever had, as
Uh-huh.
in it as for beards and bats and just bats and all that. Uh, it also led me down the wrong path, and I did not help by
Yeah.
because I had a lot of people that followed me in the wrong way for a long
Yeah.
time, and it's rough. But yeah, I agree. It can take you the wrong direction fast, and but it's also amazing. It's also great. It's good to
Yeah.
have it. You just
I
one
think
of the
everybody needs an outlet in life
absolutely.
somehow.
You just need
Uh,
to know. You need to know with any outlet you take, that if it starts leading down the wrong direction, you need to know when to shut
yeah.
her off.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of it too. I became we were very I was a very social drinker, and like
Hmm.
yourself, who that social
Yep.
sometimes became a lot. To
Yeah.
now it's all like, hey, I can have a drink here and there,
Hmm.
and understand that. But you know, didn't want the show to start off this way, but
Hey,
sometimes we got to talk about it,
you know
and that's
what?
what's
Yeah, and
great.
that's fine.
It's it can't always be all sports because we're humans.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, man, Christmas, did you get what you wanted? Anything that you were
Everybody,
just
it's like I told you, man. As long as everybody was happy and healthy, that's all I needed. So got to see the moms, got to spend time with the moms. Did the casino thing. Uh, that did not go well for
like,
me at all. Went, of course, really well for the moms. She's got that knack.
yeah,
So she had a great time, and anytime I get to spend time with her, being a mama's boy, she will tell my entire family with no qualms about it. She will straight up tell everybody with a straight face that I have her favorite daughter-in-law.
yeah,
So she loves Ashley. So we drove them around. We ate real good. Uh, yeah, Christmas was good, man. Tomorrow will be an adventure. Just
yeah.
even going to Barnard's an adventure. Uh, I got her mom, my mother-in-law, a pretty entertaining white elephant gift. That'll go interesting as always, because just the honor side of me. But yeah,
Well,
but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm ready for it to be done, because like you said, the weight on the shoulders and the anxiety of it all. I'm just. It sounds bad. I love it. I'm glad for it, but I'm ready for it to be done. I
Yes.
want baseball back. I'm ready.
I will tell you what, of course, we got some gift cards and stuff to restaurants, gift cards to restaurants, just kind of do some shopping stuff. But my most prized gift, man, was from my 2-year-old.
Oh
You
yeah.
can see it,
Oh yeah.
a little fish pin.
Very nice.
It's that one of those little gifts that she picked out herself at her school.
I
I
like it.
have no use for a fish pin, but this is my most prized gift that I got this year. Um, Other than, of course, seeing my kids, open up their gifts on Christmas and all smiles and ears and seeing the family and all that stuff. But
I do.
man,
I do have. Hold on just a second. I do have one gift. Speaking of that, if
uh-huh.
if I did say it's my favorite gift, I'll show you. We
Okay.
hold on just a second. Ashley's got the dog outside. I'm gonna see if she'll grab it for me. So, my nephew Gibson,
Uh-huh.
uh, super smart kid, awesome. My brother
Man,
Jeff Gibson is 7 now.
good Lord.
Yeah, so he went and picked out all our Christmas gifts this
Uh-huh.
year. Jeff just let him loose, and this is what he picked me out.
Nah.
And you know me well enough. Not only has that become a wonderful thing during the Chiefs game, but
Uh-huh.
my kids got a new alarm clock, and they had
Nah.
no idea how fun it was going to
Nice.
be. So I am always down for more cowbell.
Oh, yes.
So
But
yeah, that
man,
thing when he handed me that, I'm like, oh yeah.
we're going to turn the page now.
All
And
right.
I got to say, congratulations to you. Your Detroit Lions are the NFC North champions in the
Yes,
playoffs.
sir. Yes, sir.
That's got to
We're
be,
going there. We're going, baby.
know, as a Detroit Lions fan, and you're probably the only one I really know, that's got to be awesome.
Man, I watched the game. I was pumped. Uh, long time coming. They couldn't, of course, they had to make it a little more nerve wracking than I'd like, but good things prevailed. That offense, I love it. Their man Gibbs is a freak daddy. Love me some Gibbs. I'm on Ross St. Brown, man. And Goff, I hated Goff when he was a Ram, but god dang it, man, I can't help but just I kind of like the guy. But Coach Campbell is the baddest motherfucker in the world. I love that man so much. I
Any Anybody would run through the ball for that man.
Yes, he is the greatest thing ever. I love that dude. That's the best coaching hire for that franchise ever. I mean, I hope
Well,
he never leaves.
well, I think that's exciting
It
to
is.
Detroit fans. God, I mean, look at Cleveland.
Big Mike,
Look
baby.
Oh man, um, this is a fun year for the NFL.
Right?
It's but like we were talking about how Christmas was odd. The NFL is odd right now,
The
and
NFL is on one of the craziest trips I've ever seen in my life.
you have, and kind of leads me into all the NFL stuff. Uh, Playoff picture. It's
Oof.
it's wild.
From our first conversation about it, when you first
Yes,
had me on to now, my oh my, have things changed.
very much so. I will tell you what. I would hate to play Cleveland right now
Yeah,
in the AFC. I
yeah.
think Baltimore is probably looking like after what they did to San Francisco
hmm
is the favorite to come out. But at the same time, you still can't count out a lot of these other teams.
No, no, no. It's a you know I the Cleveland defense is something to behold. Baltimore's defense is something to behold. Lamar, when Lamar's on, it's amazing. They got Zay Flowers is really he's legit. They're fun to watch. I think they're one of the more complete teams. They're probably I wouldn't say I truly still believe that the 49ers are the most complete team in football. However, if the Ravens make it through the AFC and get in the Super Bowl, I don't think they'll have any problem with any of the NFC teams because Lamar is their daddy.
Yeah.
The man I don't know if it's Harbaugh, I don't know what's going on there. They just know the NFC teams because every they steamrolled my Lions. They steamroll every NFC team they play. And Lamar plays MVP caliber football every time. And I don't know if it's the defense. I don't know. There's just something they roll with it. You got Cleveland though. Man, how about that Flacco?
God.
Chucking
Everybody
throwing
had him gone. Like he was out of the league. Wasn't worth a damn.
Just chilling out.
I saw on X or Twitter, whatever you call it now, that they had a little thing saying, look at Baltimore now, saying they spent $40 million for Deshaun and now only like 2.5 for Flacco.
Yeah.
Like, how could this be the oddest?
And it's funny because if you look at what Flacco's doing the same shit Flacco's always done. Throwing for 300 yards a game. He's going to force a throw with his big arm still. He's going to throw a pick or two, maybe 5. You just never know. But he's still going to throw 3 tutties every week to God knows who. Elijah Moore, okay, cool. Njoku, fine. Throw him forward, why not? Get everybody in it, and then have Amari Cooper just ruin everybody in the world's fantasy football if they were playing him. It's fine.
There you go. You still have, of course, in the AFC, Miami.
Yeah.
You still have them. They're kind of, I don't know. They could either
week to week, man. Yep.
They could either get hot and go, or they can have one bad game and down they go.
Yep.
Then, the NFC, to me, it's clearly, San Francisco or still Philadelphia. I don't care what anybody says.
No, yeah. I still think that's a 2-team race. I would love to see my Lions sneak in there and one of the defenses fall asleep because if it comes to a high scoring affair, my boys can score with anybody, but defensively they're not ready for either of them 2 monsters.
And who else? Well, of course Dallas, but Dallas is Dallas going to be Dallas when it comes to playoff time?
Of course they will. I mean, here we go. Here, old Dak. I don't mean this bad because I know there's them boys guys out there, but man, I don't think that team's worth the shit still. I'm sorry. They're good. They beat up on some teams, but then they get thumped. And tomorrow night we'll find out, they may thump my Lions, they may not, That defense is Dallas' defense. When they come to play, they're really good. But when they fall asleep, man, they get smacked in the mouth as good as anybody.
Yeah.
And I just like watching them lose. I ain't going to lie. Yeah. I love it.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah, I love it.
Then, which, of course, leads us into the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see.
Speaking of Christmas Day being fucking rough.
Barely get by New England.
Yeah.
You have the meltdown against the Raiders. Mm-hmm. You had Travis Kelce
throwing flipped it, man.
Throwing helmets and everything else. Is this a sign that they've hit a wall? I think look at it saying is they've the last 3 years you have gone AFC West Championship game, 2 Super Bowls, that they've just now finally hit that wall of too much going on and not enough of what should just be resting in football.
Right. I think they're definitely at a crossroads for this year. I think Sunday's going to answer if they drop the game to the Bengals as well, and
Yeah.
then I think they would have to play absolutely. I still think they irk out the division. They're going to have to, because the Chargers are just god awful. So that'll help them in the last game of the year. But they just there's no idea. That team is always not always, but again, us Chiefs fans are super spoiled.
Yes.
They're still in the playoff hunt. We still have Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Playoff Patrick, no matter if he wins the MVP or doesn't, and he plays like he's doing right now, he's different in the playoffs. Everybody knows that. The man's still one of the most talented football players we'll ever see, probably, as far as quarterback position, especially right now. So anything can happen, and in football this year, for sure, anything can happen. But as far as if they've hit a wall, they've hit something. And I saw Jared Klein. If you remember Jared Klein, he's a big stat guy. He posted a stat on his Instagram that made a lot of sense, and it showed kind of the first 5-6 games of the year, Kelsey's targets, and it's shown the last stretch, how the lack of Kelsey targets. But again, that's also every defense in the NFL. First it was the 2 high safety, and now it's the 2 high safety and double up Rice, double up Kelsey, and force MVS or Sky Moore if he's on the field. But now, thank God, he's on IR. But force somebody else to beat you. Yeah. Justin Watson's not going to beat you. MVS is clearly not going to beat you because he's a one-trick pony, and he's going to drop it if he gets thrown to him anyway. I mean, I don't think they're always saying the right things, and Patrick, you can tell, does his best to take the heat on himself or stuff, but you can see it in Travis, because Travis does not hide it. And you can see, there's too many cameras that are always going to be on Mahomes to see it's there. Like the Nagy's going into this, Bieniemy, one of the things that you had to like about Bieniemy was that he held everybody accountable. Now it might have went in poor taste, and sometimes he might have went a little crazy with it. But as NFL players, they should be able to handle that, number one. And I don't think that Matt Nagy is that guy at all. I think he is whatever Andy wants to do, or if Andy needs questioned, I don't think I don't think he questions anything Nagy wants to run. Or Andy wants to run. And I could be completely off, but I don't feel like he challenges any of the play calling that is going in, or his timing this year. I've never seen a team. This Chiefs team has shot themselves in the foot. Every Chiefs team has, since in the Mahomes era, shot themselves in the foot once in a while. I've never seen a team so far since he's been the quarterback where they've done it more.
It's almost pressing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The picks, he's trying to. He makes some of the most amazing throws ever, but no matter what, it can be a beautiful throw. But if you can't get a guy open, and you're not always going to be able to throw him open. So you can see the frustration. You can see, a lot of his picks this year have been very just. You can tell he's forcing it. And what the Raiders game, what was making me insane is it's the first game I've seen since Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl where he looked like he was, and I mean he's had to run for his life a lot this year, but that reminded me
of that.
The pressure. That's exactly what it reminded me of. The difference this year is there isn't a Tyreek.
Yeah.
There's not a Sammy Watkins. There's Travis is completely getting taken out of the game. Pacheco's knocked out on the sideline. McKinnon's nowhere to be found. Like last year, McKinnon was their Swiss Army knife touchdown scoring machine. This year he's fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And they're not utilizing their guys, right? I think the defense is still, the defense is Super Bowl caliber. They have kept them in every game. I mean, and no one can say a play this way and a play that way. They have the Eagles beat. an offsides penalty, they had the Bills probably beat. You
Uh-huh.
know, the two most and why it's been so tough is it's one thing to lose to the Bills, it's another thing to lose to the Eagles, but the ones that are going to stick out and the media is going to run all over with are what you're seeing now is,
Yeah.
the Bronco game was bad. The Green Bay game, not really, that can't be having that. The Lion game at the beginning of the year, that's when you knew the Lions were here. It was, and then, but this last game, Christmas, the most watched sporting event on all of Christmas, over the NBA, which is a Christmas thing, all of that, and you just walk on there and that first couple drives, and then the fact their quarterback completed 6 throws or something the whole game or whatever it was, it
Uh,
just pathetic. That's a team that they were talking about being a dynasty, and I still think is right there close to one. And it just you can't play like that. You're not going to get away with it. And I think they hold it on their shoulders so heavy.
uh-huh.
They're putting too much. They're pressing all of them. It's not Patrick's pressing. Travis is trying to get
I
open
was
and then getting frustrated. It's
going to ask
everybody. The
about
line sucks right now. The 2 tackles are
it's
terrible.
Horde. Horde.
They're just everybody is out of sync, out of whack, in the worst time to be that way. This is not that usually everyone we turn it on right now, and right now we don't even have a fucking switch to turn it on. They're still trying to
Yeah.
find a switch, let alone So if they get into the playoffs, I'm never going to count them out because I very well, honest to God, and whether you're a Chiefs lover or Chiefs hater, I could see in even if they're playing shitty like they are now, I could see
Uh-huh.
them going to Buffalo, Patrick's first game in the playoffs, kicking a field goal or something, randomly knocking somebody out. I don't think they're Super Bowl caliber team, but I also think that they could be the team that knocks out the team that everybody expects to go, or
Yeah.
or they could or they could figure it out. There's enough talent on that team still that there's always a chance, but
I
but
think
but we'll see.
yeah. I think like you said, I think it's part of me goes, I think they're almost saying let's just get into the playoffs.
Yep,
Let's
let's
just
just
and
get
then
it, just get there.
get there and you kind of have a fresh start. You have a fresh start on
Exactly.
uh, doing this and saying, okay, we have been the hunted
Hmm.
for the past few years.
Yeah,
Now we have to become the hunters again.
exactly. They have to want it.
You know, I think, you know, Patrick is still the best quarterback in the league to date. Uh, I don't care, as far as Lamar or, Allen or any of the rest of them.
Right.
But, you know, who knows? That's what makes the NFL playoffs great.
Right.
Uh, and it's
This year
kind of
more than anybody, it could be anybody's ball game. I feel
a one
this
and
is
done.
definitely the year again. Yeah.
And when you have people saying this is it, I don't want to go home.
Yeah. They
The lights become a little brighter, and I think the brighter the light, sometimes Patrick's raises it even a higher
oh yeah.
level. But you'll
And
never know. We won't know. We'll start to see here in a couple weeks.
and I'll tell you what, if they do go down and they're a one and done if they get in, I'll tell you what, if anything, because Brady had, people forget this happened to Brady, this happened
Yeah.
to Manning, this does happen. It's not, you know, the normal Chiefs fan, and we can sit here and banter about it all that we want to, but I'm sure my perfect person who I always like to read when he talks about it because I feel like the passion's there and he's the most educated. He's very educated on it. Is when Weems starts like going on
Uh-huh.
about it
Uh-huh.
because then there's always some depth to that. Like Weems really knows his shit. So I feel like if they do go one and done, my thought would be if I were to something that like I'm sure he's probably thinking this too. I'd imagine or anybody that like truly watches it and is like tuned in. There's no way that if they go out that Patrick doesn't have a fire and just get better. Like
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
there's no way that Patrick, Andy, Kelsey's getting older. There's no way they don't go back to the drawing board and go, all right, now figure it out. Go get whoever we get rid of somebody, as in somebody. I mean, buy Chris Jones in that contract, or shape things up. That you're starting to see some of the rookies from last year and the guys that are going to establish themselves.
Uh-huh.
See where you're at. You need to change that wide receiver room. You need to completely like MVS needs. You need to get rid of MVS. You need to let all that get out of there and clean house and go over again.
Yeah.
Get some veterans in there. Don't make the same mistake that you did this year and think that all we need to do is tighten the defense up. These receivers are going to be it, because they're not. And I mean, everybody sees it. The announcers see it. Most of those announcers, if you look at it, are pretty smart old football players. When Greg Olson's saying it and Romo's saying it, you've got all of the old boys on all this. It's pretty obvious that everybody sees it. So hopefully, if they do go one and done, then they regroup, they get it right, because I don't see Patrick Mahomes being the type of player that's ever going to just be okay with not getting more rings. That dude, he has the Brady mentality when it comes to rings.
Yeah.
I saw a bogus stat too, and it just pissed me off. They showed Baker Mayfield, his stat line. Yeah, they showed his stat line for the year in Mahomes this year, and like comparing and contrast who's a better quarterback. I'm like, my only thought process was, I'm like, you give Patrick Mahomes Chris Godwin, Rashard White, and Mike Evans, and Mike Evans is having just free. I'm going to be a free agent year.
Yes.
Yeah, you give him those three and switch that around and let's see the stat line. I'm like, come on, man. It's Baker. I mean,
I will tell you what, Baker Mayfield has probably had one of the better turnarounds.
Yeah, great year for him. Great year
in NFL for that we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
All the hype coming out of OU.
Yeah.
Didn't do what he was supposed to do, and it's like he found, and I think a lot of that goes with pro athletes. Is sometimes they just need to change the scenery.
Right. Agree.
I think Baker's always had it.
Yeah.
I mean, he always has.
He's talented. He always has been talented.
He's has to be put in the right situation. And I think right now in Tampa, he's under the right situation.
Exactly. He's got veterans around him everywhere. He's in a weak ass division.
His receiving core. I mean, Mike Evans, Godwin. God, I mean, who would like to have those two receivers?
Exactly, and you're talking veteran guys that have been around, played with the GOAT, won a ring with the GOAT.
Yeah.
The defense has some old boys on it that have been there a long time. They got a tough old school coach.
They have some grinders in a weak division. I think they're will they make it to the NFC Championship game? Doubtful, but it's, hey, look, we can take this team out.
Right? Yeah. They can do some spoiling.
Yeah, they can do some spoiling.
And I think too, one of the things too with Baker's early Baker to now, I feel like Baker had to fall out of love with Baker.
Yeah.
Because when Baker first came out, Baker really liked Baker. And then when Baker was almost out of the NFL and just running out of chances, it seemed like that humble pie ate Baker, because now when his interviews and shit, he's still in there, but he's totally different.
Like he's humble.
Yeah, he's realized out of love Baker is better than what we had before.
Joe Miller, of course, is Boomer Sooner, Baker Mayfield, all or nothing, and he like him and I talked about it in the episode I did with him, and he was all like, Baker's been humbled, and it shows. And sometimes I think athletes that come in like that, who had that ego, need to be humbled and have it look, just because you were what you were, doesn't mean in the NFL it doesn't get taken away.
Exactly, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of leads me to this, and I know this is another crazy topic in the NFL. MVP. Who do you think this is the year that a non-quarterback should win MVP?
I think that Christian McCaffrey deserves the MVP, and the only person I think that's even close to him is Tyreek.
I agree.
Personally, they are obsessed with giving it to quarterbacks. Obviously,
Yeah.
they don't seem to ever want to let that go. But if you were to tell me that the 49ers would be as good as they are this year without a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and if you watch the Ravens game, what Christian McCaffrey still did,
Uh-huh.
and tell me that that team would be better off without him or
Uh-huh.
be where they're at without him, hell, that there's no shot in hell. The only reason I say it's a little different, where I don't give it to Tyreek as much, as Tyreek's stats are really good. You know, he's
Yeah.
going to have the best year of his career, one of the best years as a receiver ever. Is when Tyreek was hurt, I'm pretty sure Mr. Waddle put up about 175 yards and caught 11 balls, and they still won.
Yeah.
So I know that's a tough argument to have, but I do believe that with Miami's run game, Tua, Waddle, I
Uh-huh.
think that for some odd reason, I think that is I don't know why, I just feel like that's a better group surrounding you than, and if Tyreek was out like he was, I think that team is still capable of winning.
Yeah.
And I don't get me wrong, Debo, Ayuk, and what's his butt, Kittle, also very talented group, but offensively as an MVP, I think that McCaffrey would be is the most important offensive piece to a team. Now, yeah, offensive player of the year, so be it. But
Yeah.
he is more important to that team, I feel like, than anybody else. And I think that, Tyreek's important, but I also think that McCaffrey's just a little bit more. And then Lamar's, Lamar's always going
I
to have a
think
case.
I think Lamar solidified it just a little more.
Oh yeah,
If they're going to argument because of what he did to San Francisco.
right. And
It,
Purdy threw himself out of it.
yeah,
Like
he threw himself out.
Jalen's had too many turnovers. Now the other case that could get made, the dark horse case, would be Allen. If the Bills run this thing
Uh-huh.
and get back in it, like full blown all the way up the,
Yeah.
then
He's a dark horse.
Josh Allen's going to have a pretty good argument too.
Yeah. But yeah, I was curious because I'm like you. I think McCaffrey should be it. I think it's going to go to Lamar.
Yeah,
I think this should be a year where they did
like a Ko
a
MVP.
co like what they did with Barry.
Barry. Yep.
With Barry when they won the co that they do a co. I think Christian McCaffrey has earned it
Yeah,
in every
agreed.
possible way. Um,
He's been
guy is
he's a cheat code.
absolutely
He's a
no.
freaking cheat code.
He can run, he can catch, he can block. I mean, he's the ultimate. God, he's the ultimate football player.
Take that,
But
Rashard Mendenhall. That's our one team white boy.
have you been catching? Are you stand up with any of the bowl games?
Yeah. By the way, congratulations to your KU boys.
Hey man, I tell you what, I for a while there, I got a little nervous.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how you were penalized 14 times, 15 times for an average of 248 yards.
Yeah.
Still end up winning by 13.
I think
And covering Vegas, may I add.
I think it had just to you already know the stat line, but you remember this. I think that was something about 449 yards and 6 tutties. Six tutties, Big 12 record, 6 tutties.
But 3 almost costly turnovers.
3 picks. 3 rough picks. But two wide receivers over $130.
Over yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
3 touchdowns apiece.
that defense played
Defense played
absolutely
good.
phenomenal.
Then you got another
Man,
Christmas friend, the running back, Mr. Neal's coming back.
we have
Yep.
Neal's coming back. We have a defensive player coming back. Matter of fact, I think they brought in one of the highest recruiting classes that's been in a while. I
Yeah.
think
Hell yeah.
yeah. And then I tell you what, I saw when 3 years ago when he took over 0-19.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when I looked at it, so the following year he won after 0-9, they only won two. Then they won six, ended up last year 6-7, lost the bowl game to Arkansas. That they should have won.
Yep.
To finishing this year, well, 9-4 now after winning the bowl game. But that was exciting. I did check. Mizzou is losing 3-0 to Ohio State.
You got it on
Which
right now.
absolutely floored me that the fact that it's only just 3-0.
Man, they're grinding. They're in this. I mean, if they can get something going on offense, they just they're playing. We're not that's and it's like I told you when we were talking a couple weeks ago. They're not playing a normal defense.
Yeah.
They're playing. This is this is Ohio State's defenses are, man, they're just good, and that's what you're seeing here is
Well,
they're playing
they
playing a tough D.
they do have the Ohio State can't beat an SEC team in the
Yeah,
bowl game, kind
they
of
got yeah.
in favor. Marvin Harrison Jr. decided not to play.
Yep.
But
running the backup quarterback, or that's now the starter.
Back,
Yep.
man, it's been fun, to watch some of the bowl games. The Big 12 is kind of doing their thing in bowl games.
Did you check on Joe?
Iowa State was their first loss from a Big 12 team.
Did you check on Joe about his Sooners?
Oh yeah, I don't care about OU.
He doing all right. Boomer Sooner, baby. Bring home them bowl games.
But I think the Big 12 is going to be fun next year. I think I'm anxious to see what Monday brings, the New Year's Day games.
Yes.
Got
FSU and Georgia tomorrow, right?
Yeah, FSU, Georgia tomorrow.
Did you see the USC game?
Yes.
Backup quarterback getting it done.
Hold on. I got those stats.
It went nuts.
So I was going to bring that up too. So is it Lincoln Riley or was Caleb Williams is it Lincoln, or because his stats, kid threw 372, was 23 for 33 and for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, it went nuts.
No interceptions.
Nothing.
So is it Lincoln Riley?
I don't know, man.
Or was Caleb Williams really that good?
That's the thing. The Caleb Williams thing is it's so tough because it's kind of the Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel. We've been here before, so it's one of those where it's like, all right, this kid's either that good that he got that kind of lazy and just
yeah.
And once they lost the first one, and you're not going to the national title game, you're like, and he just kind of got shitty, but he did, and didn't want to get hurt, or he's not that good. And Lincoln Riley, needed to resurrect what was looking like a little rough outing for him. He wasn't looking real good either. They're like, hey, you got Caleb Williams, how come you ain't winning? But now, it's tough to tell. Like, I think, I don't like how that kid is either. I don't like. I mean, I get being, already thinking of the pros and this kind of money and that money, but I've always been one of those guys where I know you don't want to go to a particular NFL team.
Yeah.
And you have a list of teams you want to go to, but man, you're probably going to be the number 1 pick or in the top 3 picks in the NFL draft. You're going to make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You get to play NFL football, and you're probably going to start as a rookie no matter what place you go to, if you're as good as you think you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just shut up and go there.
Yeah.
Turn them into a winner. Take it as a challenge. I mean, I don't remember a rookie quarterback other than this year maybe where so many young guys have rolled right into it, and you're in the promised land in your first year.
Oh
You
God,
know,
yeah. You know,
take your bumps, get better. I don't know. I want the kid to be as good as everyone says he is, but I know when I
I
watched a couple of the games when he was playing bad, I mean he didn't look any better than some of these other kids did. The
yeah.
LSU kid, Bo
Oh,
Nix,
he,
Drake May,
yeah,
Penix. This year
you know,
especially, man, it's all of them. They're everywhere. Like there's some of these guys this year, like even the fifth or sixth quarterback taken this year, to me is still probably
yeah.
better than a lot of the quarterbacks that we're seeing in the NFL right now.
I tell you what, I mean, I have my Jayhawks, and it's funny because we both kind of have other teams we root for. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also a Fighting Irish guy.
Yeah,
You know, just,
they rolled.
just they rolled with
They
their
rolled.
back for next year,
Mm-hmm.
put up some numbers,
Yeah, he
and I
did
think
play
so.
well.
I think that's the part of the bowl season that a lot of that because I'll kind of ask this before we head into it. Do you think there are too many bowl games? I saw this. I can't what social media platform if it was someone on Facebook or someone on X, Twitter, or whatever asked, "Is there too many bowl games?"
Uh, I guess there's two. To me, I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. So for all the kids that are not going to go to the NFL,
Uh huh.
that bust their ass, the lineman, the linebacker that no one's ever heard of that makes a big play, the backup guys that come in for this or that. To me, I think that it's awesome that there's so many bowls. You know, I think that I would be sad if there wasn't as many, just so I couldn't hear all of the random names for them
Yeah.
and who they're sponsored by.
You know,
But
K State won the Pop Tart Bowl.
yeah, but
You know,
I know for the kids it
but
gives them all,
yeah,
and it's and
whatever.
it's perspective. If you told me, you know, if you told me that the College World Series wasn't going to have the regionals and super regionals and stuff like that, and they were just going to, I would blow a gasket.
That's
So
I think that's different. I think to me, college football has gotten to where I think they need to change the standard. Now it's like you win 6 games
yeah,
and you're in. Which to me, I think if you go in at 6-6 and you lose, you end up with a losing record.
yeah,
I think they should at least increase it to at least 7 wins.
yeah, and
So
that I
that way when if you lose your bowl game, you still if end up with a winning record.
that and see and that makes perfect sense. That would be a better way to do it. So when
'Cause I mean,
that way, yes.
Minnesota
When you look at it that way, of course, yeah,
Minnesota got in and they were like only won 5, and I think it was
right,
one of those. Oh, we need someone to play. Who's the? Oh, let's
yeah,
just randomly pick somebody.
yeah,
Like,
and
but
it's
they ended up going and blowing out in the bowl game, which is
right.
okay, but
And I love, and like I said, I love that all the kids get another game. I mean, I
yeah,
love what it is, but at the same time, if they wanted to take it down a notch, I would totally understand. But I do enjoy. Of course, I'm not going to watch them all.
yeah,
There's too many to keep up with, and some of them, like you said, like I don't think losing teams should be in bowl games
no,
with a losing record, and I agree with the standard thing. So, I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, if they made it only for this standard of you had to have a winning record, it would be better
uh-huh.
off. It
Yeah,
would be better. It would be more rewarding because, like you said, let's just call it what it is. Some of them bowl games we're good at being average, but we weren't good at
that's
being
how I
good.
see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like the
a
average bowl, the
you're
average.com bowl.
you're sitting here at 6-6.
Yeah,
I mean, you're at 500. You're playing average ball.
right. But
So
if for a football lover, I mean, I guess I guess the other side of that coin is while you're waiting for college basketball to really get ramped up, and
Yeah.
it's you were in that kind of dead area of
Yeah, the
you know
holidays.
yeah, it keeps you going because some of them when it's the average teams and stuff you think about it though some of them random 45 to 48 with no defense or
Well,
that game whoever it was the other night that had the fourth quarter where they scored like fucking 45 points in the fourth quarter or whatever between the two teams.
you know,
It's fun to see that shit.
to me, I think it's good. I'm curious. The one game I'm intrigued about is it tomorrow? They no, they're Monday. The Liberty Oregon game.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works.
Because you look at it, and I think when it comes out, they always have the argument of the smaller D1 schools.
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, but look what Boise State did. Look what you know who
Always rooting for the little guy in those games.
you
Always.
root for the little guy, but I'm curious to see how if they pull it out. Of course, great job for Liberty.
Right.
If they don't, then you're always going to hear why were they even playing Oregon?
Right. Well, good news
They
is
could,
they can always refer back to my Horned Frogs last year, and
yeah. It, but you're right. It's kind of a down period from Christmas to New Year's
yeah,
because with college sports, because college basketball's on that break.
mm-hmm.
You know, they'll pick back up here after next week, and they'll
Yeah,
start
maybe
getting
ready to
going.
go. Yep.
Yeah, conference games will start up slowly. Then it'll go through February conference games. Then March comes and March Madness happens.
Go time.
Yeah, it's the fun time of college basketball when they hit the conference schedule, which I'm glued to the TV.
Yep.
You know, I mean, especially man, it's like you brought in, Houston. Houston, Kansas. Kansas is ranked 2. Houston's ranked 3. You have Oklahoma's ranked. Texas is ranked.
Yeah, they always they that's a tough. The Big 12's tough.
Big 12 is
Yeah, they're
tough,
tough at basketball. Every
and
year, man, like they're always in there, like, and it seems like every year one of them. If it ain't KU,
yeah,
Baylor's always sneaking in there. Texas ain't there. Houston's really, there's always somebody that's like
yeah.
just ready to
TCU is
rock.
always TCU is always a tough place to play for Kansas.
Yeah,
But I mean, anywhere in the Big 12 period because they all get up for
yeah,
Kansas.
yeah.
So,
Well, yeah.
so
The
but like
KU are the current Chiefs of college basketball.
pretty much.
You're going to play your
But
best game against them probably every time because that
but
is the standard.
but that it's kind of that the NBA is still the NBA. Christmas Day is always fun. If you're an NBA fan, you sit there and watch, games. Like myself, I switched from football to basketball, basketball back to football, and stuff like that. But kind of speaking of NBA, the Detroit Pistons.
I was about to
Now,
ask you. I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I was, obviously co-hosting this with you. I'm like, I better catch up on some basketball. So I made the mistake of,
28.
yeah, I'm like, let's look at these standings right now because I don't keep up with it, but the usual suspects are still where I thought they would be. Boston's still where they're at. There's always wherever there's a Luca's pretty good. That Shy,
Love.
I don't. What's how do you say his last name? Shy
Oh, I just
Alexander. I can't
SAG.
say that guy. Holy shit! Wherever
Shy
Giannis is
Gilgis.
at,
Yeah, Shy
yeah.
Gilgis Alexander.
I
Yeah.
saw Giannis is always Jokic, and then I saw
Yeah.
Ja Morant's back. So,
Yes.
but then I keep scrolling down and I see a team that looks like they've got 2 wins,
Who wins?
28
You
losses,
realize
getting it
that
done.
the last I saw on Twitter before I actually came to do the show that they had the worst records from like the 90s on. Who every team, the pro team, they were all from Detroit.
Oh yeah, they don't.
The
Yeah,
Lions had one of the worst records. The Tigers, the
yeah.
of course, Pistons right now,
Man,
and
Detroit,
the
the
Red
Red
Wings.
Wings. Yeah. Hey man, you know what? Detroit gave us Eminem. That was it. They stopped. They said you're getting
Well,
Eminem for a while. Yeah,
they
that's
gave
true.
you they gave you Barry. They gave
Yeah,
Barry
Barry and
Sanders.
Megatron.
Yeah,
Then we sent
but
Stafford out of town so he could win a Super Bowl for somebody else. Then
I was
Miggy retires, and you're like, cool, okay, okay.
so. Question is to you: if how would you feel if you were the team that gave up that third win to a team that projected to go 5-77?
Oh man, I think that especially if it ends up being a good team,
Yeah.
if
Well,
it
which will lead me to that because they played my Celtics last night
and they play pretty good.
and they were down 20 by 20 and had to come make a run and
I
won in overtime.
I can imagine what Jason. I don't know how I would feel, but I can imagine what Jason Tatum would have felt like. I don't think it would have been good, and I think the words would have been bad.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Which basketball season, man, especially it's when you see that, and God, I was like, I'd hate to be a Detroit Pistons fan right about now,
God,
but
can you imagine what fucking Isaiah's thinking?
yeah,
Or Joe Dumars and those guys? They're probably like, what is this garbage?
that
I didn't know. I didn't know. When the hell did the San Antonio Spurs get shitty?
well, a lot of that has to do after. Let's see, they're kind of rebuilding now.
When they
They
got
have
Wimby?
they got Wimbenyama,
Yeah,
who is a 7 foot absolute sensation.
I heard he's a freak daddy.
He is a 7 foot 1 who plays like a Scottie Pippen.
Holy shit.
Can handle the ball, can pass the
Pretty
ball,
good.
can shoot the ball, dunk
They
the
just got to
ball.
build around him, huh?
You have to build around him.
All right.
The NBA is fun. The teams that are in it, they're in it. The teams that are down are down. They're it's kind of like the NFL and the MLB. It's
I know
you have
your
your real
Celtics are always right there.
yeah, you have your intermediate ones and you have your shitty ones. They're the
Where
same way they go through the draft
where
and
are the
try.
Warriors at now?
Warriors are kind of middle of the pack now.
Yeah.
So,
Is
they're
Steph still Steph?
Steph is still Steph. His Clay Thompson is come back from his injury. He's still good.
Yeah.
Not where he used to be.
Not wait till Curry hits 21 threes one night and then him say hold my beer and hit like fucking 18 more the next night.
Yeah, and Draymond is absolutely God. Is a mental head case out there.
He looks like
But
Rodman part 2.
Rodman would murder him as far as a mental game.
Yeah.
So,
He
but
just looks
the
like he's
NBA is
batshit
fun.
crazy.
I mean, yeah, we had. I know you don't keep up on it a lot, but high school basketball had one of the biggest tournaments this weekend in the William
Christmas,
Jewell.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, the jewel, yeah, it's Christmas time. I forgot all about that.
if I did not have my daughter with me, I would
Mm-hmm.
absolutely probably go up there and sit all day and watch high school basketball.
Yeah, that's a big tournament
It was
every year.
huge,
Every year.
huge.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm going to talk to. I know I was meaning to talk to Joe Miller, shoot him a text because I know he goes up there
Mm-hmm.
and he spends all day up there.
I think Dud
And
does too.
yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
think Dud does too.
if you're into basketball, you're into high school basketball. It's fun to go watch.
I remember Jerron Rush
Yes,
and Kareem Rush.
yes, the
I
Rush
remember.
brothers.
Yeah, I remember when they were there.
Yeah,
Yep, I
uh,
remember. I think that's when we went, like because we knew they were going to be there. It's the only time I ever
yeah.
saw them. But we all went, and it was, you felt like you were at a damn NBA game. There were so many people there.
The Avila, they don't do it anymore. Avila used to have a holiday tournament as well, and that was they took the best from the Kansas side and the Missouri side, and they clashed them together.
Yeah.
Which was also another fun one. I wish they would bring that one back. But William Jewell one is You get the big boys from Staley, Oak
Oh
Park.
yeah,
I tell you what, north of the river right now, just in any sport,
yeah, man, it's loaded up there. It's
and
loaded, man.
Oak Park is being coached by old KU guy, Sharon
Yeah,
Collins.
yeah.
So, you know,
I know.
they're
I
just,
know. Smithfield's football head coach just signed to become the head coach of Jewel.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I don't know if he went to Jewel or what, but I saw that he's going there. Uh, Speaking of Northland sports, and this could be hearsay or whatever, but have you ever wondered in Liberty and Liberty North, like what other than where you live in the area, which school you pick to go to, how that works?
yes.
I've always wondered that too. It's just
Well,
fishy question, but it makes me wonder because I'm like, because Liberty North's really good, and I'm
and
like
it,
at football, like state title good, and
oh, they're,
Liberty's
well,
right there too, but it's like, what? How do you go to?
which leads me to when you want to talk high school, when you have a Liberty North and a Liberty, like where's that dividing line? And how
Yeah.
come all of a sudden when Liberty was a powerhouse,
Mm-hmm.
it's always kind of been a powerhouse, and all of a sudden the two schools have come about, and Liberty North has kind of teetered more towards the powerhouse,
Yeah.
and Liberty has kind of become little brother.
Right.
I say it now because of where I'm in Blue Springs,
Mm-hmm.
Blue Springs South. Blue Springs used to be a very big powerhouse. Now Blue Springs South is more of a powerhouse, and Blue Springs plays the little brother in football.
Yeah.
They're, but it kind of goes in all sports. Like
Yeah.
the fast pitch team was highly ranked at South,
Mm-hmm.
but the girls at Blue Springs were still ranked, but not quite as high.
Right. It's
You know,
crazy.
I
It's
it like who'd be great to have who'd get them on talk this stuff would be Joe.
yeah, because
Uh,
I'm always like, how do you know if you're where in Liberty is
they
it Liberty North compared to Liberty, and
they have their lines that apparently this you go to this side, you live on this street, you're supposed to go here.
well, what if Grandma
Now
lives on this side of the street and you want to go there?
you say that. Now I'm gonna go back a little bit, and you
Mm-hmm.
know who he is, the Teron Lou.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Raytown High School.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's from Mexico, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor has it, and I don't. When I say this, it's clearly speculation.
Yeah.
That at the time, Raytown South was the bigger basketball school of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, there was a misunderstanding where this house family member resided and ended up instead of ending up at Ray South, ended up at Ray Town, which he ended up taking them on and doing big things with
Yeah.
them. But
And I know it's just high school sports, but when you're 6A powerhouses, I know it's a lot different than Plattsburgh and Lawson or Lawson and Lathrop or anything that we have here, but it begs the
yes,
question because of how interesting and how the dynamic of sports have gotten.
yes,
It
which
it's not
also
just there. I'm sure Park Hill and Park Hill South have this.
yes,
Staley.
yeah,
I remember Staley when Gary Mayhab was at Oak Park as the wrestling coach, where Joe will know all about all this.
oh yeah,
But I remember Mayhab being in Oak Park, and then when Mayhab went to Staley there for a minute, all of a sudden it was interesting who was wrestling at Staley and how that was all working. It's just crazy how that all works. Like this line, this border, this tuition.
and this is when we talk high school sports and powerhouses, which leads this is a whole different topic within itself and is when you go look at your private schools like Pembroke Hill,
Bias.
Lockers.
Pious.
Pius.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the Kansas side, you have St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yep.
A lot of people will go, "Oh, they're not able to recruit." Well, that's funny. I've known a couple coaches who coached on the staff of St. Thomas Aquinas
Yeah.
or who coached at the staff of Rockers. You're full of shit. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I
There's some recruiting going on.
I'm fairly certain that Pius is, and not to like uh, make allegations or not, but I'm fairly certain Pius is 103-pounder wrestler that will probably
Uh-huh.
literally roll through state, like kill every. I'm pretty sure he's from Kearney. Like, I think he lives in Kearney, and his parents. I think one of his parents or something lives at St. Pius or works at St. Pius or some bullshit with St. Pius, and he goes there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I
Well,
mean, you know, all these
and
kids and their grandpas and uncles and cousins that go to here.
during playoff time is the enrollment for private schools is lower, so
Mm-hmm.
therefore you get to play come playoff time in lower classes where
Mm-hmm.
here you have 6A, 5A level talent, but you're playing for a 3A type
Yeah.
competition.
Right. See that?
That's
Well,
the great.
Lawson went to. I told you we went to Boonville, and
Uh-huh.
it was the middle ground. We played that Gateway Center team from St. Louis.
Yeah.
They're a 4A or 5A school. I mean, they beat us by touchdown. But the funny thing is they had 5A, 6A size
Yeah.
and could have the talent. They were very raw and didn't. It had not been groomed or coached well yet.
Yeah.
But the size alone
Yeah.
was comical. You're like, look at the size of these kids. And I'm like,
Well,
man, that's a big area to pick from, man.
I didn't know if you know this, and we'll go back to when you talk about Liberty North. Is Big Mama's nephew
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
a lineman at North, and he is.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is picked the spot yet, but he's being highly recruited.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see where he ends up. Of
Right.
course, I've chatted with her a little bit, said, where do you think he's going? But I mean, you know, he's he's up there,
Well,
and
and then
he's part of that program that.
Coach Goss's son,
Uh huh.
I believe he was a cornerback for Liberty North.
Yeah.
You know Coach Dana Goss?
Uh huh.
Yep, that's her son. I know her son. He was either the cornerback or wide receiver or something on that team. Them boys are good.
That's a topic we definitely have to get into. Man, like it would be fun, especially to pick Joe's air about that. I know he'll have a lot. Of course, he'll talk about his Oak Park boys all the time. But yes, or God, not just wrestling, but sports in general, north of the river has
They're getting it,
absolutely
man.
become dominant. I think south of the river, a lot of these suburbs, Blue Springs, they got a lot of catching up to do with, but hey, man, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And the high school level is seeing the
Well,
talent that we have, coming in and out of Kansas City all around.
and you look at the appeal of the Northland, like when we talk North of the Rivers, a lot of them are trying to get out of the city,
Yeah,
or are moving towards, the suburbs because
yeah,
it's all starting to blend together. Liberty is so close to Kearney now that you almost don't know which is
yeah,
which.
yeah,
Lawson's right down the road. Excelsior's right down the road. Lathrop's right down. Like you just go down that whole stretch of highway, and
yeah.
and their
All
school, quality schools, quality sports.
yeah. It's
It's good. It's a good thing,
and
man.
it's good, and I think what makes it fun is these kids grow up competing against each other,
Exactly.
from Pee Wee football all the way up to high school football or Little League baseball all the way up to high school baseball. And that's how all the rivalries come about.
Yes.
And, it's fun for the area, you know, and then it's fun to see the talent coming out of the area. I know, God, Liberty North, shoot, they had what, couple kids go D1 in baseball.
Oh yeah.
They got a couple kids going D1 in basketball,
Yep.
and then a good handful of them going getting recruited D1 college.
Yep.
So in football, I mean, so
Bring
yeah,
it, man.
it's been fun, but man, uh, any New Year's plans?
Yeah, I'm going to sit on my couch, and then I'll probably get up, and if I'm awake at 12 o'clock, great. But if the last 2 years have told me anything, unless my dog has to piss, there's a good
Yeah,
chance that my New Year's plan will be to try to snore as loud as I possibly can. But here in Lawson, every holiday or any type of celebration needs about, I don't know, Fort Knox to go off, and you have 4 billion fireworks. So if someone doesn't drop about 4,000 pounds of dynamite outside our window, I'd be shocked. So
I will fight. I will fight to try to stay up till midnight.
yeah, that's a stretch, man. That's a long time.
It'll probably take me having to take some kind of energy drink. Yeah, drink a cup of coffee or energy drink or something around 11 o'clock to keep me up. But
Man, and my plan every year is to wake up the next morning and just remember the first thing that I have to put a date on, making sure I put the right year on it. I'm like, I don't what it's 2020 something.
are you a resolution guy?
Uh Not really. Like I I don't I guess like I tell myself that I want to do things different.
Yeah,
Like I'm a goal guy. I wouldn't say a resolution guy. I don't know if there's a difference or not. Some people might say there's
there is a
not,
difference.
but I'm a goal guy. So like, one
I
of my
think.
biggest goals is to, as anybody gets, life's expensive, and I lived, and you know this about me, and like I said, we don't talk about my private life a lot, and I never really did, but what I did very well is I was very good with my money, and the mystery of where
Yeah,
I always worked or how I always had money. We all know there
yeah,
was always the mystery. And I was smart with it for the most part. Like
yeah,
I did really good, and you know, things the last few years got a lot more expensive and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
So goal wise, it's to knock down the little debt, knock down the debt some, you know, to get into a real good place to go into the next year and probably try to get debt free again. Goal, the goal is always going to be, you know, and I don't know if it's a resolution or not, but the goal is always going to be to somehow I'm going to get a Raptor in this driveway. Goddamn it! But no, I need there's some things I need to do for myself. I don't know if I'd say they're resolutions, but another goal would probably be I need to eat better. I mean, we ain't getting any younger, obviously.
yeah,
I'm not the poster of health by any means. I never will be, but I need to I need to lay off the energy drinks a little bit. I need to, I need to take better care of myself.
yeah,
Like I need mentally, I'm in a pretty good spot. Like I feel pretty good at where I'm at mentally, but like physically, I need to take a little better care of myself because I'm a lot more sore than I used to be.
yeah. Oh yeah,
I don't remember. I don't remember sleeping one way for 6 hours and then getting up and feeling like I got in a wrestling match with Ken Shamrock or fucking Chuck Norris kicked me in the ribs for 2 hours. But yeah,
I
nothing.
am.
What about you? Are you a resolution guy?
I am not a resolution guy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm maybe like you. I guess you say you set a goal,
Hmm.
but it's not a goal that I don't feel is unattainable.
Right. I don't. Yeah. I'm not gonna false promise my shit to anything.
You know, I think a lot of times we set ourselves up for failure as
Yeah.
people when you try to set a unattainable expectation.
Right.
Um,
Life's hard enough, man.
and saying that you talk about your health. It's like people who say, beginning of the year I'm going to start in at the gym,
Yeah.
but by the end of the first month they're not in the gym anymore
No. No. Exactly.
because they're not seeing numbers the way they want to see it.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person is I think every year I look back at the previous year and say, what am I thankful for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what what can I do differently and try to just change personally.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the big thing to me is I want to, of course, always be a better father for my kids,
Absolutely.
be a better person all around. I go, yeah, like of course, mentally, I have my moments just due to the anxiety issue.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Other than that, of course, health wise, everybody can do something to better their health.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always look at saying, and I'm sure you can say it's like my mom is still around,
Yep.
and but I know in the back of my head,
Mm-hmm.
how much more time do I have with her?
Yeah.
We're not getting any younger.
Yep.
You know, or see my kids grow daily. Just the little things,
Mm-hmm.
is a joy within itself. And I always say, of course, waking up daily.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, man, when
you know,
you're living hard, like you know,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. And we were living hard, and now more than ever, just every time I open my eyes, I'm like, all right.
yeah.
You're like, all right.
That- And that's how I look at it as I go. I woke up to see another day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try not to put so much pressure on myself. I
Yeah.
think maybe that's a goal resolution, however you say it,
Mm-hmm.
so I can control my anxiety better.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that try to eliminate unnecessary stress and try to be able to control what I can control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget to do that.
Oh no, I
You
agree.
can only control what you can control, and there is no need for the unnecessary stuff that you can't control or try to worry about the stuff that I can't control.
Yep.
And so it's I want to make sure that I'm around for my kids, around for my
Mm-hmm.
family, and that's my goal every year is just to make sure I take care of that and take care of them financially, and you know see where everybody else is, your friends try to do, and wish
Yeah.
them the success and all that. And then of course when it comes ball season, uh
Oh man, I can't.
live
I'm so
at the
ready.
internet, all the slow pitch people and all the people who complain about youth baseball and make fun of it on social media myself. And
Right. Don't send runners. Hey, quit holding runners at third.
yeah, yeah, like
Well,
don't
but
even get started
I'm
on
not
that
gonna.
one.
Yeah, we don't got time tonight to get into that.
But other than that, man, next week, you know what I think?
What's
I
up,
think we should reach out to him is let's bring Nuck on.
dude? Oh yeah, like he's. I think he would be a blast,
Yes.
and
So
he'll be. It's awesome because it's not something we get to talk about really
hockey.
very much. Hockey, youth
Yeah,
hockey, and then
youth
I'm sure
hockey.
he's got some killer stories from his hockey days.
So let's work on that. Other than that, like I said, everybody out there knows now that you can hear us on Spotify. Now we're on YouTube,
Oh yeah.
man. And happy New Year's from me. Happy New Year's from Hobbs. And man, we'll catch you all next episode.